Hello friends. There's something magnetic about the moment a Leo man first crosses paths with a Gemini woman. It's like watching a spark leap from one star to another, igniting a constellation neither of them knew existed until that instant. He walks in with the confidence of someone who knows the sun rises for him, his presence commanding attention without effort. She, meanwhile, glides into the scene with an airy grace, her smile quick, her eyes alive with curiosity, as if she's already halfway into the next fascinating conversation in her head. When these two lock eyes, it's rarely just a glance, it's an unspoken promise of adventure. And that's where their story begins. Chemistry. Initial attraction. Leo men radiate a warmth that can be felt before they even speak, a kind of natural magnetism that isn't merely the result of good looks or a confident smile but something woven into the way they carry themselves. It's the way they step into a room as if they own the moment, the way their presence seems to bend the mood of everyone around them toward something brighter, warmer, and more alive. This is not the forced charisma of someone trying to impress. It's an unshakable self-belief, a quiet certainty that they are meant to stand out, and they do. Their laughter carries, their voice has weight, and their energy feels like the glow of a fire on a cold night. For many people, this aura is intimidating, but for a Gemini woman, it is an irresistible invitation to explore. Gemini women are masters of intrigue, and their allure is built on movement, not just physical, but intellectual and emotional as well. She's adaptable in a way that seems almost magical, able to shift from deep contemplation to playful teasing in the space of a breath. Her wit is sharp but never cruel, quick to lift the conversation into uncharted territory, leaving people not just entertained but slightly off balance in the most delightful way. There's a light in her eyes that suggests she's already thought of something clever, a mischievous twist to her smile that makes others lean closer, hoping to be in on the secret. Where others may try to contain their personality to fit the room, she expands, shifting shape without losing her essence. From the very first meeting, the Leo man is drawn to this quality. He admires her charm, but more than that, he respects her mental agility, the way she can volley back his bold statements with something equally daring, equally captivating. He sees in her a spark that refuses to be dimmed, even in the light of his own commanding presence. For a man who thrives on vitality, whose soul feeds on energy and passion, this refusal to be overshadowed is intoxicating. She's not another admirer. She's a co-star in the scene, a worthy rival in the game of attention, and he can't help but imagine what kind of adventures the two of them could stir up together. For the Gemini woman, the Leo man represents an entirely different kind of thrill. He's bold without apology, straightforward in a way that makes his intentions clear, and utterly unwilling to fade into the background. In a world full of half-hearted connections and lukewarm personalities, his certainty is exhilarating. She is accustomed to charming and disarming people with her quick mind and playful nature, but here is someone who meets her energy head-on, refusing to be simply another audience member. Instead, he steps onto the stage with her, and suddenly, she's part of a duet instead of a solo. Where others might shrink beneath his confidence, she rises to meet it, and loves every moment. There is also a deep, almost elemental complement at work between them. Leo's fire feeds on Gemini's air, and in turn, her air becomes warmer and more vibrant in the presence of his flame. Her spontaneity doesn't just amuse him, it stirs him, wakes him up, pushes him toward new experiences he might otherwise overlook. She fans the flames of his passion, reminding him that life is not only about holding the spotlight but also about dancing in it with someone who can match his rhythm. Meanwhile, his steadiness in certain areas of life, his loyalty, his grounded belief in himself, gives her a sense of security without ever clipping her wings. He doesn't try to pin her down or box her in. Instead, he becomes the sun she can orbit freely, always drawn back by his warmth. In those early days, their attraction unfolds like a cinematic montage that never feels staged. There are late-night drives with no destination, only the quiet thrill of possibility and the shared comfort of being in each other's company. There are conversations that start in the realm of philosophy. What is the meaning of happiness? Is love a choice or a fate? And somehow end in fits of laughter over the silliest inside jokes. There are stolen glances in crowded rooms, the kind that hold entire sentences in a single look, and playful challenges that keep both of them just slightly off balance. Every meeting feels charged, like a story that's already in motion before they even speak. She will catch him watching her when he thinks she's not looking, his expression a mix of admiration and curiosity. He will notice how she tilts her head when she listens, how her laughter bubbles up as if she can't contain it. There's a sense that they are already playing a game neither of them intends to win, not because winning isn't possible, but because the game itself is the reward. Even the silences between them carry meaning. When they sit together without speaking, there's no awkwardness, only a hum of unspoken connection, the awareness that both are turning over thoughts they may share later. He might reach for her hand without thinking, and she might let him, fingers interlacing with a familiarity that feels like they've known each other far longer than they have. Their chemistry is not just physical or intellectual, it's emotional and energetic, a complete meeting of two forces that seem designed to enhance each other. It's in the way his certainty softens when she teases him, the way her restless mind settles, just a little, when he holds her gaze. It's in the knowledge that neither of them has to dull their edges to fit together. Instead, those edges catch the light, refracting into something new and dazzling. The Leo man feels alive in her presence, as though every moment with her is a reminder that life is meant to be lived vividly. The Gemini woman feels seen in his presence, as though someone has not only noticed her kaleidoscopic spirit but also wants to explore every shade of it. Together, they create an atmosphere where attraction is never static. It grows, evolves, and renews itself, always keeping them just a little bit hungry for the next chapter. Emotional dynamics. Leo men love deeply, but the way they love follows their own inner compass, one set not by the expectations of the world but by their unshakable sense of self. Their affection is a force of nature, steady when it needs to be, roaring when passion strikes, and it always carries with it an unspoken demand: see me, value me, admire what I give you. For the Leo man, love is not just a private feeling, it's a performance, an offering, and a declaration to the universe that he has chosen you and will stand by you. In his heart, loyalty is sacred. Betrayal, even in small ways, cuts deep. His devotion runs thick like molten gold, warm and encompassing, but it needs space to shine. When he loves like a protector. He shields his partner from harm, whether it's physical danger, emotional hurt, or even the small indignities life sometimes hands out. He has a natural instinct to stand between his loved ones and the world's cruelties, to be the one they can lean on when storms hit. But this protective instinct also comes with a desire to be recognized for his role, not in a selfish way, but in the same way a hero hopes someone will acknowledge his courage. The Leo man's grand romantic gestures aren't just acts of affection, they're acts of storytelling, weaving moments his partner will remember for years. The Gemini woman, on the other hand, navigates the emotional landscape differently. Her heart is capable of deep care, but it moves lightly across the surface of life until it chooses to dive in. She can sit with you in sadness, offer thoughtful words and genuine empathy, but she's unlikely to dwell in that space for long. Her emotional energy is mercurial, sometimes a gentle breeze that refreshes, other times a whirlwind that sweeps you into a dizzying dance. This fluidity can feel freeing to her, allowing her to escape emotional stagnation, but it can also make her hard to pin down in the eyes of a more fixed, steady partner. To the Leo man, this ever-changing rhythm can be thrilling, like trying to predict the wind's next move, but it can also be unsettling. He might crave more constancy, a steady emotional current he can read and rely upon. He sometimes mistakes her quick shifts in mood for detachment, interpreting her need for lightness as a lack of seriousness. In moments of insecurity, he may wonder if her heart is as invested as his. To the Gemini woman, his emotional intensity can feel both flattering and overwhelming. She admires his sincerity and loyalty, but she doesn't always understand his need for constant reassurance. Her natural instinct is to move through feelings rather than sit inside them, and she may feel confined if he presses too hard for her to mirror his depth in every moment. What he sees as essential, she might see as a heaviness that could dim their joy. The emotional dynamic between them, then, often hinges on a delicate choice. Can they embrace each other's style of loving without trying to rewrite it? When they choose acceptance, their connection becomes a living example of emotional balance. He can anchor her without tying her down, offering her a safe harbor she can return to without fear of losing her freedom. She can lift him when he feels weighed down, showing him that not every moment requires gravity, that sometimes laughter and lightness are just as valuable as solemn promises. When they align, the result is more than harmony, it's emotional synergy. He brings her the gift of rootedness, teaching her the power of staying present when emotions run deep. He shows her that vulnerability doesn't have to be endless self-exposure. It can also be a commitment, a pledge to stand steady even when the wind changes direction. She, in turn, gifts him with emotional agility. She teaches him that feelings, like seasons, can shift without losing their meaning, and that moving through joy, sadness, excitement, and calm is not a sign of instability but of a life fully lived. Their balance works best when they meet in the middle. His steady warmth wraps around her like sunlight, grounding her in the comfort of being truly cherished. Her airy adaptability cools his fire when it threatens to burn too hot, keeping their connection fresh and alive. Together, they create a space where emotions aren't forced into shape but are allowed to breathe, expand, and evolve. And in that shared space, love becomes less about matching each other's patterns and more about celebrating the ways their differences make the bond richer, deeper, and endlessly intriguing. Long-term compatibility. A Leo man and Gemini woman can build a long-lasting relationship if they truly grasp the nature of their unique alchemy, a blend of constancy and change, of roots and wings. For the Leo man, love is a structure, something to be built upon brick by brick, fortified over time with loyalty, trust, and unwavering devotion. For the Gemini woman, love is a living, breathing thing, always in motion, always discovering new paths and possibilities. Their union works when they see these differences not as contradictions, but as complementary forces. His constancy provides a steady platform from which her restless energy can leap, explore, and return without fear of the ground shifting beneath her feet. Leo's loyalty is like the sun, reliable, warm, and always present, even when clouds pass. He doesn't just commit to a person, he commits to the very idea of guarding the relationship with the pride of a king protecting his kingdom. This gives the Gemini woman a sense of safety, even when her mind is wandering into new territories, hobbies, and adventures. She knows that beneath all the changes in her own heart and mind, his devotion is an anchor. In turn, her ever-changing ideas and willingness to try new things keep their bond vibrant and alive. She refuses to let the relationship fall into monotony. One month she might propose learning a new language together, the next she might suggest a spontaneous weekend trip or a joint creative project. This constant infusion of novelty prevents the Leo man's natural desire for stability from solidifying into stagnation. She keeps him guessing, keeps him engaged, and reminds him that loyalty doesn't mean life has to be predictable. Over the years, however, they must navigate a fundamental truth: Gemini thrives on novelty, while Leo thrives on loyalty. If the Gemini woman begins to feel trapped, as though her freedom to explore new experiences, new ideas, and even new social circles is being clipped, she may begin seeking excitement elsewhere. This doesn't necessarily mean other romantic partners. Often, it's simply a diversion of her time, attention, and energy toward new environments or passions that make her feel alive again. On the other hand, if the Leo man begins to feel overlooked or underappreciated, his pride may quietly start to close in on itself. Pride, for Leo, is not vanity but a deeply rooted sense of self-worth. When that worth is ignored, he might retreat emotionally, creating a distance that feels colder than his usual warmth. In some cases, his hurt may manifest as bursts of frustration or even dramatic declarations, not because he wants to push her away, but because he needs to remind her that he is there, steadfast, and deserving of acknowledgement. The path to long-term success for this pair often lies in shared projects or adventures that give them a common horizon to look toward. Whether it's traveling together and collecting memories like precious artifacts, building a business that blends his determination with her adaptability, or diving into artistic or intellectual pursuits that challenge them both. Mutual goals become the glue that holds them together. These shared undertakings create moments of collaboration where their differences transform into assets, his persistence ensuring follow-through, her adaptability keeping things fresh and flexible. They also share an undeniable gift for social connection. Both the Leo man and the Gemini woman enjoy being around people, though in different ways. He draws attention effortlessly, his natural magnetism pulling eyes toward him even in a crowded room. She keeps the energy alive with her quick wit, lively stories, and ability to move fluidly from group to group, leaving everyone she speaks to feeling just a bit more alive. Together, they often become that couple everyone notices, not because they're trying to dominate the spotlight, but because their combined energy naturally commands it. This shared social ease often reinforces their own bond. Watching each other in social settings can rekindle their admiration. He sees her captivating others with her intelligence and humor, and feels lucky that she chooses to share her life with him. She sees him holding court, respected and admired, and feels proud to stand beside someone so sure of himself. These moments act as small reminders of why they were drawn together in the first place, his fire and her air, each amplifying the other. In the long run, their compatibility thrives when they continually recognize that their love is not meant to be static. It's a dance between stability and spontaneity, between the warmth of loyalty and the excitement of change. When they both lean into this truth, he loosening his grip on predictability, she deepening her appreciation for the constancy he offers, they don't just last, they flourish. Over time, they create a shared story filled with stability that feels safe and adventure that feels endless, making each new chapter better than the last. Communication conflict resolution. Communication between a Leo man and a Gemini woman often feels like the lifeblood of their connection, the thread that not only weaves their daily interactions together but also adds color and texture to the relationship. In many ways, it is their greatest strength, a shared superpower that allows them to connect, debate, flirt, and dream in equal measure. Both are expressive souls, but their expressions come through very different channels. For the Leo man, words are declarations, bold and heartfelt, meant to be remembered. He speaks as if he's standing on a stage, each sentence carrying intention, rhythm, and presence. When he says something, he means it to land with weight. The Gemini woman, on the other hand, approaches conversation like a painter with a wide palette, clever, quick, unpredictable, able to switch from playful banter to sharp insight in an instant. Her words often dance rather than march, and her thoughts can take delightfully unexpected turns that keep him engaged. When they're aligned, this blend is electric. His passionate delivery meets her nimble intellect, creating exchanges that feel like both a performance and a game. They can talk for hours without noticing the time, diving into subjects ranging from personal dreams to abstract philosophy, sprinkling in humor so effortlessly that serious topics never feel heavy for too long. He loves the way she challenges him to think differently, and she enjoys how he listens with intensity, as if every word she says matters. But their ability to communicate also means that when disagreements arise, the fireworks can be just as vivid. Arguments between them can be lively, sometimes even theatrical. A Leo man, when hurt or feeling wronged, doesn't sulk quietly in a corner. His instinct is to roar, to make his pain known, not out of cruelty but out of a deep need to be heard and understood. This emotional volume can be overwhelming to some, but the Gemini woman rarely cowers in the face of drama. Instead, she meets it with her own style, switching between logical reasoning, which she wields like a precise tool, and playful deflection, which she uses to keep the situation from becoming too heavy. This interplay can be both a blessing and a curse. His dramatic expression ensures that problems are not swept under the rug, they come into the light where they can be addressed. Her ability to stay flexible and think on her feet means she can adapt mid-conversation, shifting her approach when she senses he's not responding to her first tactic. However, there's a risk. If he feels she's not taking his emotions seriously, he may see her deflection as dismissiveness. If she feels he's pressing too hard for emotional validation, She might interpret it as a demand to perform feelings she doesn't genuinely have in that moment. The key to resolving conflict for them lies in two deceptively simple concepts: timing and tone. Timing matters because not every moment is right for confrontation. The Leo man benefits from taking a breath before roaring, giving himself space to turn that initial surge of hurt into something his partner can receive without feeling attacked. The Gemini woman benefits from recognizing when her humor or sarcasm, usually a source of charm, could be read as armor. In tense moments, lowering the shield can mean the difference between escalation and resolution. When they manage these elements well, misunderstandings rarely linger. Her adaptability becomes a huge asset, allowing her to pivot mid-discussion toward a solution rather than clinging to a position just for the sake of winning. His pride, once soothed by her acknowledgement, opens the door for genuine forgiveness. One of Leo's underrated qualities is that, despite his fierce reactions, he doesn't like to hold grudges against those he truly cares for. If he believes an apology is sincere, he lets go and moves forward, preferring to restore harmony over nursing resentment. Interestingly, their conflicts are rarely about major betrayals or deep incompatibilities. More often, they spark from smaller moments: a misinterpreted comment, a forgotten plan, a tone that landed wrong. Their emotional wiring means both are quick to react, but also quick to reset. A 5-minute disagreement can end with them laughing about how absurdly they blew something minor out of proportion. In these cases, the Gemini woman's lightness is invaluable, helping them both step back and see the humor in the situation. Over time, they learn to lean on their communication not only in moments of joy but also as a reliable bridge during tension. They start to understand each other's patterns. He realizes her joking in a disagreement isn't always avoidance, sometimes it's her way of breaking the ice. She learns that his initial burst of passion in an argument isn't a sign of doom, but a sign that he cares enough to fight for the relationship. This mutual understanding transforms potential flashpoints into opportunities for greater intimacy. When they get it right, their conflict resolution doesn't just repair damage, it strengthens their bond. Every disagreement they navigate successfully becomes another proof that their connection is resilient. They know that even when sparks fly, it's only a matter of time before those sparks turn back into the warmth that drew them together in the first place. Physical intimate connection. Here is where the chemistry between a Leo man and a Gemini woman often shines at its absolute brightest, not only because their attraction is undeniable, but because their approach to physical and intimate connection taps into their most natural strengths. For the Leo man, intimacy is a language, one he speaks fluently and passionately. He is not content with half measures or lukewarm affection. His touch is deliberate, his presence commanding, his desire to connect as much about the heart as it is about the body. He thrives on physical closeness, the brush of a hand, the lingering hug, the stolen kiss that turns into something more, and he delights in creating moments that feel cinematic in their romance. Romance, for him, is not a background detail, it is the stage on which love is performed. He enjoys settings that heighten the senses: candlelight that casts a golden glow, soft music that sets a rhythm, the quiet clink of glasses filled with something rich and celebratory. His sense of exclusivity makes his partner feel chosen, treasured, and utterly central to his world. This isn't simply physical passion, it's devotion dressed in silk and firelight. The Gemini woman brings a completely different, yet beautifully complementary, energy into the mix. Her approach to intimacy is infused with variety and playfulness. She sees physical connection not as a fixed routine but as a constantly evolving experience. She's curious, always interested in trying something new, whether that means a playful change of setting, a fresh twist in their physical expression, or simply introducing an element of surprise into their time together. Her adaptability means that their physical relationship never risks becoming stale. She can take something familiar and infuse it with a spark that makes it feel brand new. When these energies meet, the result is a dynamic that is both deeply passionate and endlessly evolving. His desire for grandeur and devotion provides a steady, romantic framework, while her openness to experimentation ensures that framework never becomes rigid. He loves how she can turn a simple evening into an adventure, and she loves how he can turn an adventure into something meaningful. For the Leo man, intimacy is inseparable from emotional affirmation. Physical closeness is not merely about pleasure, it is about being seen, admired, and adored. The way his partner looks at him, touches him, and responds to him is, for him, proof of love. Without that emotional element, physical connection can feel hollow to him. This is why he often takes his time. He wants to savor, to create moments that are not just exciting in the moment but lasting in memory. For the Gemini woman, intimacy is about keeping the spark alive through spontaneity and joy. She thrives when she feels free to be playful, when she can mix humor with passion, when laughter and desire can exist in the same breath. She sees no contradiction between being deeply connected and having fun in the process. Her ability to shift gears, from intense and sensual to lighthearted and teasing, keeps their physical connection from ever feeling routine. When they truly understand each other's needs, their physical bond becomes a fusion of passion and creativity. He learns to appreciate that novelty and lightness don't mean a lack of depth. She learns that ritual and romance can add richness and significance to even the most spontaneous encounters. Together, they find ways to merge his desire for affirmation with her love for exploration, creating an intimacy that feels both grounded in devotion and alive with possibility. Over time, this connection deepens rather than fades. Their physical closeness becomes a place where they recharge not only their bodies but their hearts. It's where he feels validated in his role as a devoted partner, and where she feels free to express herself without boundaries. In this shared space, whether it's an elaborate evening or a stolen moment in the middle of a busy day, they keep rediscovering each other, and with each rediscovery, the bond grows stronger. Shared values, life goals. At first glance, the values of a Leo man and a Gemini woman may seem to be pulling in different directions. The Leo man thrives on recognition, stability, and building something lasting. He sees life as a stage on which one should leave a legacy, whether that's through career achievements, family, or personal contributions that stand the test of time. The Gemini woman, by contrast, often seems to carry the winds of freedom in her hair. She seeks exploration, change, and the joy of discovering new horizons. To an outsider, it might appear that his need for rootedness and her need for movement would eventually pull them apart. But beneath those surface differences lies a powerful common ground. Both want to live life to its absolute fullest. They simply define fullest in different ways. For Leo, fulfillment means striving toward greatness. It's about setting high goals, pursuing them with relentless determination, and then standing back to admire what has been built. His sense of self-worth is deeply connected to his ability to create and sustain, whether it's a thriving career, a beautiful home, or a stable family life. Stability, for him, isn't about standing still. It's about building a foundation so strong that he and his partner can launch any adventure from it without fear it will crumble. For Gemini, fulfillment is less about the end result and more about the journey. She is energized by movement, new experiences, fresh conversations, places she's never been, and perspectives she's never considered. Her sense of purpose is tied to growth, adaptability, and curiosity. She believes that life is too vast to be lived in one lane, and she wants a partner who can keep up with her pace, or at least cheer her on as she runs ahead and discovers new paths. When these two share a vision, their values align beautifully. Leo's ambition can act as a driving engine, while Gemini's adaptability keeps the journey exciting. If his goal is to climb in his career, she can be the partner who not only supports him but keeps him connected to the people, ideas, and opportunities that make his path richer. She brings him fresh perspectives, introduces him to contacts he might never have met, and reminds him to celebrate the milestones along the way instead of racing to the next goal without pause. Likewise, if the Gemini woman dreams of traveling the world or immersing herself in a variety of cultural experiences, the Leo man can be the one who turns those dreams into more than just fleeting whims. He ensures their adventures are not only exciting but also memorable, weaving romance and meaning into each journey. He has a knack for elevating experiences so they feel like milestones in their shared story, not just another trip, but their trip, not just another night out, but a night worth remembering years later. One of their strongest points of alignment is their shared dislike of boredom and stagnation. For both, the idea of living a repetitive, uninspired life feels like slow suffocation. Leo's pride won't allow him to settle for mediocrity, and Gemini's restless spirit refuses to be confined by it. This mutual rejection of dull routines becomes a powerful unifying force. They encourage each other to keep life exciting, whether that means reinventing date nights, tackling bold projects together, or turning ordinary days into small adventures. Over time, they come to understand that their values are not in conflict but in balance. His quest for recognition gives her something solid to orbit, while her hunger for exploration keeps him from becoming too rigid or self-focused. Together, they form a partnership where stability and change coexist, a dynamic equilibrium that allows them to grow both individually and as a couple. This balance also influences their long-term life goals. They may dream of building a beautiful home but agree it should be a base camp for adventures, not a cage. They might pursue careers in different fields but support each other's ambitions with equal fervor. They can imagine raising a family but with the understanding that life should remain rich with new experiences, learning, and discovery. At their best, the Leo man and Gemini woman create a shared vision of life that is both anchored and adventurous, structured yet free-flowing. They learn to see that recognition and exploration are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin, both rooted in a desire to fully engage with the world and leave a mark upon it. And in that shared desire, they find the kind of unity that makes their bond not just exciting, but enduring. Final thoughts. A Leo man and a Gemini woman together create a relationship that bursts with vitality, color, and the kind of energy that draws others in like moths to a flame. From the outside, theirs is the kind of love story that seems to be in constant motion, full of laughter, surprises, and a certain magnetic pull that makes people notice them when they enter a room. It's not just the way they look at each other, but the way their personalities seem to orbit and complement one another, like fire dancing with the wind. His warmth radiates in steady waves, while her breezy nature stirs those flames higher, creating a cycle of energy that is both warm and exhilarating. Their love story is indeed a dance of fire and air, an ongoing, improvisational performance where each brings their own rhythm but somehow finds a shared beat. The fire of Leo is steady yet passionate, seeking to illuminate and protect. The air of Gemini is light and agile, sometimes swirling in playful gusts, sometimes gliding in smooth currents, always keeping the dance from becoming predictable. When these two elements merge, the result is something dynamic and alive, a relationship that refuses to stagnate. Of course, this kind of vibrant connection doesn't come without its challenges. His pride, rooted in a deep need for recognition and respect, can sometimes bristle against her restlessness, especially if her ever-shifting attention makes him feel less central in her world. She, in turn, may occasionally see his steadfast nature as inflexibility, or his desire for loyalty as an attempt to clip her wings. Her adaptability, which allows her to navigate life with ease, can sometimes feel to him like unpredictability, and unpredictability can make a Leo uneasy if he interprets it as instability. But the beauty of this pairing lies in their capacity to turn potential friction into fuel for growth. When they consciously choose to focus on their strengths, his unwavering loyalty and her sparkling curiosity, they discover that those very traits hold the key to not just surviving but thriving together. His loyalty offers her a safe place to return to after her adventures. Her curiosity ensures that their shared life remains full of fresh ideas, perspectives, and experiences. At their best, they become the couple others watch with admiration, not because they're perfect, but because they seem to have found a secret formula for keeping love alive. Friends may wonder how they manage to maintain the spark after years together, and the answer is both simple and profound: they never stop feeding each other's fire. He continues to court her with romance and grand gestures. She continues to surprise him with spontaneity and playfulness. They don't allow the passage of time to dim their connection. Instead, they treat each day as another opportunity to rediscover each other. They also share a powerful belief, whether spoken or unspoken, that life is meant to be lived fully and boldly, and that love should be an adventure, not a cage. This shared outlook pushes them to keep exploring, not just the world around them but also each other's inner landscapes. Over time, they come to realize that the next great adventure doesn't always require a plane ticket or a major life change. Sometimes it's as simple as finding new ways to connect, laugh, and dream together. In the end, the Leo man and Gemini woman have the potential to create a love that is both grounded and exhilarating, a partnership where stability and change coexist in perfect harmony. Their fire and air, when balanced, can carry them through challenges and into moments of profound joy. And as long as they keep choosing each other, in the quiet moments as much as in the grand ones, their story will remain what it has always been: vibrant, dynamic, and unforgettable.